All right, y'all. I'm just waiting for the chat to fill up. Never done live before, so I'm just using my damn iMac, my MacBook's webcam. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. Can you guys hear me? Sweet. This is why I love the DJI transmitters. It's just plugged in USB-C, wireless mic on me. You guys are funny. So we'll wait a little bit longer for the chat to fill up, but I'll be releasing more presets. I don't know. I feel like I released so many already as it is. The last curves that I released for Canon, those are all I pretty much use now. Then I do custom grades over that. But obviously, when I switch, there'll be more curves coming out. And those curves can't be made for Lightroom, sadly, because Lightroom just doesn't have the tech to do luminosity curves. They only have RGB curves. Let's wait for a little bit more people to come in, then we'll get going on here. Yeah. Still giving away the X Pro One at 50K. And now at 60K, I'm giving away a DJI RS3 Pro combo, whatever, and a LiDAR. I didn't say that in the video, but it's a broken LiDAR, but it works. TJ Izzy, I just saw your comment on the YouTube thing or Instagram, wherever it was. That was funny. All right. I feel like we got enough. I don't know if I don't ever live stream, guys. I don't know how the shit works. But so yes, I'm leaving Canon for a multitude of reasons. Um, when the R5 first came out, it was the camera I've been waiting for. The R5 and the Komodo were like my go-to. And they were amazing. But then as work started to pick up again through COVID, um, the Komodo was like, it got me beautiful results, but majority of my clients can't see the quality difference. And so I got rid of the Komodo just to get a more speedy setup, which is the R5C, which it was a more speedy setup. Um, it still is, in my opinion, one of the best hybrid cameras, but I've learned there's two different kind of hybrids. There's a hybrid to where you're shooting on a gig and you're shooting photos and video on the same gig. The R5C is not a great camera for that, just because the battery life, you have to re-rig it up every time. Um, yeah, it's just not. When I was in Peru, our photographer got sick, and so I had to step in and do stills in motion. And within the first 15-20 minutes, I was like, this camera's gonna be an issue. So, but in the other way, it's a great hybrid camera. And say one day you have a photo shoot, and then the next day you have a video shoot. It's amazing. It's perfect for stuff like that. Um, and then some people say, well, why wouldn't I get the C70? Well, it's Super 35, which yes, it's totally fine. But I just want to be set for the future for versatility. Super 35, there's a lot of amazing full frame anamorphics and lenses coming out. And I don't care what anyone says, it does kind of up the quality a little bit. But not just the quality, but the versatility on being able to have more access to twice as many lenses, way better low light, like way better low light. So on top of that, the C70's build quality, I wasn't a huge fan of. The screen felt very flimsy. I felt like the type of gigs I do where I'm hanging out of a freaking boat, I'm chasing bulls, I'm chasing horses, I'm in the snow, I'm in the dirt. I wasn't very confident with the C70. So, but overall, the reason I'm leaving Canon, we all know that YouTube's filled with people just going over to Sony. And I was definitely in the team of like, oh, sellouts, like blah blah blah. But that's not really what it sorry guys, my allergies are so bad today. So, one second, let me clear my so, I was like, "Why is everyone switching to Sony? Like, why like, Sony's just scooping up all these people." And I was raw Canon and Fuji. At the same time, I really don't give a shit what the camera brand name is. I care about what works, what makes my work look better, and what makes my job easier and faster. Always have right when I get off a job, they meet next day. It's like, hey, so when can we get edits? Like we all know what the drill is. So, but I remember when Canon, when the whole that just a few months ago, when they started to suit their company or third party lenses. I was like, "Really, Canon? Like, are you actually making moves for your base, for your community, for the people shooting with Canon, or are you just trying to get as much money as you can out of us?" Um, and then I started to listen to the Sony hype a little bit more. To be honest, I was like totally arrogant to what they've come out with since I got rid of the A7R4 like 3 years ago. Um, so I started to look into it a little bit more, and I'm like, Sony seems like they're doing a lot. Even how we see, this has nothing to do with it, but how we see they treat all the creatives, like they go out of their way to take them on trips and stuff. Like all that, I think is kind of silly. But um, it's just you could see that they're being more in tune and in touch with their audience, in tune and touch with the creatives. They're asking them what they want and they're giving it to them. Everything from the third party lenses, like I just found out Tamron makes a 35 to 100 millimeter f2 to 2.8. Why the fuck do we not have that for Canon? Like if Canon had that, man, like that's like that lens would be glued onto my freaking cameras. So it would be okay if Canon was coming out with lenses like that, but they're not. They're barely getting like their standard lenses finished up for the RF series. On top of that, all pretty much any Sony camera you get, they have S-Log3 in it, no matter what the price point is. With Canon, we all know what the drill is. You either get C-Log1, which is basically a Rec 709, or you get C-Log3, which is okay. But if your camera is able to pump out more dynamic range, why the hell would they not give us C-Log2? It is so annoying. I'm so done with it. So again, with the R5C, if I'm shooting a music video, I love using the RAW. The RAW is insane on that camera. That thing is a powerhouse of features when you're shooting it in RAW specifically. The majority of my work, if I tell the producer, "Oh, I'm going to need like 4 to 8 terabytes of SSDs for all the RAW footage," they're going to be like, "That's we don't need that." We're like, "Who do you think you are?" So a lot of the times after shooting the XF AVC, and when you're stuck with that, you're stuck with the C Log 3. So again, most of the time it's fine. But there are times, again, you start looking at Sony, you're like, well, this camera gets way more dynamic range. Like there's way more dynamic range that's pumping out an S Log 3. Again, no matter what the price point is, no matter what the sensor's capable of, they try to throw everything in there in the kitchen sink just so our backs are covered. Um, the battery life on the R5C, it's not like a hardcore issue for me because I'm used to using heavier rigs. But again, when I'm doing those hybrid gigs where I need to be switching back and forth, I can't be throwing a rig back together within a minute just to film. Like it's crazy. So the new R5 that's about to come out, we all seen the rumors, the R5 Mark II. I'm sure it's going to solve a lot of issues. By 1000% bet they're not going to have C-Log 2 in it unless you're shooting in RAW. 1000% bet they're not going to open up the damn RF mount for all these other lens companies to give us more options. So I'm just over it. I feel kind of again, I loved Canon. Like you guys know, I went to Fuji and then I went to Sony and I was just waiting around for the R5 to come out. Once it did, I was in love. It was perfect. Colors are perfect. The lenses are insane. But as you guys all know too, like your career grows. So the big thing that started to get me to think about all of this is in 2023, I don't know if you guys know this, I'm part Native American, and I've always wanted to do my part in covering the culture and helping push our new narrative out, so people know that we're still here. And so I'm on one gig right now. I can't really talk too much about it, but it revolves around indigenous cowboys. And I was using the R5C. I was using the Condor Blue cage. The thing's insane. And I was also using the Condor Blue shoulder rig, an amazing setup. But the R5C itself, I was just like, I feel like this is making my job a little more difficult. And again, that's why I started looking at the C70. But then again, you're limited with the Super 35. I know people shoot movies and stuff with it. That's great and all, but I don't have millions of dollars in teams and budgets to make these things. So the more versatility and robust options I can have will make it easier on me. So, anyways, I'm going to be doing a lot more documentary work. I just want to step up my personal work a lot more. Um, my whole goal with YouTube, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I mean, I want to leverage my YouTube in a form to where it could be self-efficient and I can make enough money off from YouTube so I could focus on more personal work and document all of that. So not only can I teach everyone that's upcoming, but I can also help create community and just help push pieces out. And it's a whole circle of life with all of us creative. So that's one of the reasons like I love YouTube so much is I can create funding out of it at some point. I don't really make much off it right now, but hopefully at someday I will. And when that day happens, I'm going to be making documentaries. I'm going to be making short films. I'm going to document all of it. I'm going to pump out videos all about it so I can help you guys learn through me learning. Um, so, yeah. Now, what am I going to switch to? Again, I post on Instagram. My phone's still blowing up with responses. I told you guys don't respond or not interested in buying the camera. Um, so, obviously, I'm going to be switching to Sony. I've already tested a bunch of files. I'm almost done here. Once I'm done, I'll go through all the chat here. Thank you guys for being a part of this too. Like first time going live, and I thought no one would be here. So there's over 100 of you all. So that's more than I thought. So yeah, I'm going to Sony. My goal is to get the FX6. Um, we can compare it to the C70 real quick. C70 has internal NDs, but they're hard NDs, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8 stops. The Sony goes up to 7 stops, but you could fine tune it more. So I think you go by 0.3 increments, which helps like a shit ton. Because say if I'm shooting anamorphic, if I want to shoot wide open, and I'm stuck with a hard ND, I have to adjust my aperture according to that. But on the FF6, I could do it wide open. I could adjust the ND according to it in a fine-tuned way. Um, Also, the auto ND, I checked that out. That's freaking great. So you can imagine for documentary work how that could come in handy. Um, it does have shutter angle. The FX3 does not have shutter angle. I'm the type where the R5C is great with this to where it has shutter angle. And so if you're switching to 60 FPS or 24 FPS, you don't have to worry about your shutter speed. So a lot of times if I'm using a hybrid camera, I forget to change my shutter speed and I ruin so many shots. Um, so on top of that, there's more audio options. The dual ISO. So again, the R5C has it too, where your base is 800 and 3200, and it looks incredible. Especially again if you're shooting a RAW, it looks insane. Definitely looks better than the R5. Just a tiny bit, but that tiny bit is a big difference. With the Sony FX6, base ISO is 800 and 12,800. So again, you guys can imagine for documentary work, if I'm out there trying to film a cowboy, like on these Western shoots, you're shooting from before the sun comes up until the sun or until after the sun goes down. So there's a lot of times where these are amazing moments happening when the daylight is gone. So that's why I can't really shoot with the Fuji X series stuff for that because it's too noisy. It falls apart, especially if a brand's going to do a buyout and they're going to do large prints for in store. I've seen the prints. I wasn't happy with how mushy it looked. Um, so yeah, the whole dual gain ISO kind of thing, that's super clutch. I've already graded some FX6 footage. Shout out to Gabe and Alex and Armando. I got my hands on a bunch of files, photos, and video. The FX6 files remind me of C70 files. Like it's pretty damn clean. You can really push it around, colors hold together. It has like that special like detail sharpness in it where it doesn't look like overly sharpened in digital. It has like this soft, detailed look, similar to the C70. The C70 is probably a little bit softer. Um, I tested some FX3 footage. It's kind of similar, but I felt like the FX3 footage was more saturated, and that extra saturation I felt kind of messed up my grades a little bit more. Kind of had to like tune it back a little bit more with against the FX6 build. I was able to push saturation into it more, which I'd rather have that because it's more controlled. Um, so yeah, my game plan's FX6 and then possibly the A7R5. The whole like you guys know, I had the A7R4. It was a great camera. I didn't care for it at the time. At the time, I was trying to figure out my editing workflow still. I was trying to figure out how to get to my digital shots look like film. I finally figured that out. That's what my curves presets are all about. To get the film look, it's literally all about the contrast and the curve. So less about the colors, it's more about the curves. So now that I've learned that, Alex and Gabe sent me some A7 IV files, and it grades just like Canon, honestly. Obviously, the curves require a different type of curve. That's why I don't release general presets because all these cameras, even within a brand, requires different curve adjustments. So yeah, so I did some test files, and honestly, their updated color science, it's way closer to what Canon has now. I still like the Canon, like maybe 10%, maybe 6% more. But yeah. So, and I'll probably get FX3 for all the YouTube stuff. Since I moved to Austin, you guys have saw the road trip videos I've been doing. I plan on doing those way more. It gives me so much feel. I will be keeping these two cameras. So I will be keeping the FX or the look at me, the Fujifilm X100V. This is for life my favorite camera until they come up with a new one. And then for the film camera, I still have the Fujifilm GA645ZI. I'll probably get rid of my Mamiya 645 here soon. So I am selling my R5C. I am selling all of my RF glass. I am selling my Fujifilm XH2S. I am selling maybe the GFX 2. So if you guys are like want to look at any of those on my Instagram, I posted all the prices. So if you want to buy it, let me know. Okay, now I'm done rambling. I'm done ranting. Canon, screw you. It feels like Canon's a pyramid scheme. It's like, hey, we're gonna give this amazing camera to you, but hey, we're gonna leave out 5 features. And if you want those features, gotta buy the next one up. Versus Sony being like, here's this cool camera. This sensor is best for this. All the features are in there, no matter what camera it is. I feel like they're looking out for us a little bit more, and I appreciate that. So, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, it's so expensive switching systems. You guys have seen me do it 3 times now. Um, I don't like switching systems, but again, as my career develops, I have to make moves according to that to set me up for the next year or two, you know? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's get in the comments. Guys, this is pretty fun. I might have to go live more. I might have to get an actual setup. I'm just in my freaking bedroom right now. Here, let me actually try a little bit here real quick. Let me actually like try to like make it look a little bit cooler in here. Let's turn on, let's get that light on. It's gonna go. I think it's unplugged. Never mind, y'all. Oh, wait. All right. All right, let's get into comments now. Okay. Hello, everyone. Are you really leaving Canon? Yep. Um, let's see. This video looks like yeah, that's funny. Um, let's see. Canon is the best, hands down, making mistakes. How do I report hide? I wonder how I can highlight comments into. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing at all when it comes to this stuff. Um, anyways, uh, thoughts on the XT5. So I tried the XH2. Is that what's called? Yeah, yeah, the XH2. I put it against the XA2S. The photos, I was very sad to find out that it doesn't give you any more quality. I thought the extra megapixels will maybe help with color accuracy and gives us more robust editing files. It didn't, and so I'm not interested in it at all. I just think crop sensor, there's only so much you could do to it unless you're on Ari's level and you're really pushing the sensor hard. Um, Yeah, see, I can't understand for the life of me why Canon is saying no to third-party manufacturers, shooting themselves in the foot for some extra sales. Like, I don't like. Wish whoever's running Canon and making these decisions, we could speak to them because they really are shooting themselves in the foot with this because they're making moves that's making us realize they're not doing what's best for us. They're not looking out for us at all. Um, let's see. I'm calling it right now. In 4 to 5 months, why switch back to Canon? No. Um, as my career goes on, just how my eyes matured in my edits being more filmic and simplistic, so does my career. I am more focused on my the legacy of my career now rather than my short term things. I mean, when it comes to YouTube, I love checking out new cameras. Um, I love testing cameras and seeing what's out. I love gear. That's the whole side of us being artistic. It's just like I love collecting pocket knives. Like I love rigging my car out for road trips or just for shoots and stuff. Like it's the same type of shit. And so, um, yeah, I'm into the whole gear thing, but I mean, again, I'm trying to set myself up for the future here. And Canon, I'm tired of waiting. They're always making us wait. Like, oh, they might be doing this, might be doing that. I'm tired of it. Sony has everything I need right now. So Andrew Sullivan, I mean, if you want, hey, bro, if you want to buy the R5C, went from Canon to Sony and Sony, but I need that low. Yeah. Yeah, again, the R5 2 that's coming out, it would probably solve a lot of my issues, but it doesn't solve the rest of the issues with it's not going to have C-Log 2 in without RAW. If they do that, you could I'll put my foot in my mouth or whatever. Um, but still, the whole lens options. Uh, Canon does not have an actual cinema camera that offers everything that FX6 does for that same price. I would have to get the C500 and that shit's what, 20, $30,000. Like, nah. TJ say Canon's good enough to color grade Sony and make it look fine. Um, anyone is. When it comes to video, every camera's good. When it comes to anything, all these cameras are good. It comes down to what's perfect for the work you're doing. And again, you guys see I do so many different type of work. And so I need something that's versatile. But yeah, when it comes to log, I use DaVinci and I use the color space transformer. I put everything either in RE or into the Cineon gamut. From there, I do all my film emulation. Um, Sometimes I even just use Dehancer if I'm going for like an 8mm look. Dehancer is great if you're trying to just like rip up footage to make it look filmic. Um, but for more accurate, clean, precise results, I have a whole film emulation power node thing that I use. So power grade node thing that I use. Um, and so, yeah, I already tested some of the footage and it grades. Again, this on the Canon R5C and XF AVC, the Canon, the footage grades well, but when it comes to recovering shadows and highlights, I really have to stretch it. When I was playing the FX6 and FX3 footage and the A7R5 footage, um, I realized I was making it look like HDR because there's so much more dynamic range in the S-Log 3. And so it's going to be another learning curve for me to ease it back a little bit. I don't have to stretch it as much as I do with the Canon files. Yeah, see, a lot of people are saying that third-party lenses were the dagger for them. So, right there with you guys. Welcome to the dark side. Yep, I'm on board now. This hat. Uh, so this hat is from Ben Christensen. Go check him out on Instagram. He shoots even more badass cowboy stuff than I do. You guys will be obsessed with his work. It's just at Ben Christensen. He makes these hats. He's based out in Arizona. My tribe's out there, so we'll 1000% will be working together in 2023. He shoots Sony too. I think he shoots the A7R3. Um, What's up, Justin? So yeah, so I saw the R5 to Justin, and he's loving it. Um, yeah, bro. Hope you've been good, man. Yeah, everyone's telling me to check out the A1. I would, but that thing's freaking expensive. You guys, like a moment of honesty here. I haven't had an invoice clear since October. I'm owed a lot of money right now. And so me switching gear right now is not wise because usually towards the end of the year, there's been times where I haven't gotten paid from until March when I do shoots in the fall. So I know that's freaking ridiculous, but it's what we got to do sometimes. I find so Nick Del Duca, sorry if I just butchered that. I've tried so hard to get good images from Sony. I devoted a year to it and couldn't get the colors to come out the way I wanted. Sony can't be wrangled. You will be back. Like I said, my approach to editing now is a lot more simplistic. It's all about the curves. Um, Back then, when I was struggling with editing, I was also struggling with my look. I didn't know what my look was. Like I knew what I wanted, I didn't know how to execute that look. I was doing way too much. So I think that's a big part where people complain about colors because if you know what your final image is going to look like, you'll be able to edit that easily. Um, that's like a big thing. So I even went back and edited some of my old A7R4 files. And now with my new approach to editing, I was like, this was a lot easier than it was back then. Um, and color science does make a difference because depending on your look, it can make it easier or harder for you to get your look out of it. Um, and so a lot if you're someone that likes to really just like butcher your colors, like you're putting blues into greens and putting yellows into orange, it doesn't matter what camera you get because you're throwing the colors everywhere. So all the modern cameras got to hold up to that. Yeah. Casey Bryant Jones, literally because of the lens selections, I was able to go Holy Trinity 2.8, Sony 200 to 600 for less than an R5 with the Holy Trinity 2.8. Yeah, the RF lenses are very expensive, but they're insanely good. They're on Fujifilm GFX level, in my opinion. Maybe even, no, I don't want to say better. I'll say they're on par. Um, you could almost get that 3D pop off the RF glass, but they're not weatherproof. My 24 to 72.8, whoever wants to buy it, I'll take a few $100 off it because there's some dust in there. Um, so I'm hoping that the Sony lens is a little bit better, or Tamron, whatever lenses I decide to go with. What? So Emerson Sensman said, "What are you looking forward to most from moving to Sony?" Just the versatility. Um, Being able to get so much image quality out of any camera I get out of them. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Also, I am going to try to partner with them just to see if there's anything I could do to help lighten the load on those documentaries I want to start making on my. I'm going to start with my tribe. I'm going to start with people within my tribe and I'm going to start expanding out of there. I have a lot of like indigenous friends, a lot of amazing indigenous artists and activists that I want to cover. I want to put their voice out there to the public. I want to be a part of that. I want to do my part. Um, so again, just being able to see that Sony is worth is what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, they're putting themselves out there. They're opening themselves up that they are collaborative with their creatives that work with them. So yeah, I'm excited about that. We'll see. That I have no idea if they'll. I put out so much shade out there about Sony, so we'll see if they accept me into anything. Why did you move from red kimono to R5C, Akeem? Um, the kimono was great. That's still forever my favorite cinema camera. Um, but for the lot of stuff I do, raw is overkill for like 70% of it. Um, and having crazy good autofocus makes my job easier. Uh, and just a little bit more of a hybrid form factor uh, is was kind of important for me too. So I do miss my red Komodo like a lot. Um, that's like one of the few cameras I've owned that I kind of wish I didn't get rid of, but I would barely ever use it. It's a proper cinema camera. Uh, I know sometimes I say that requires teams, but looking back, I did a lot of solo work with that camera, and I freaking that thing was insane. Um, but yeah, I just needed something a little more versatile. I'm not shooting movies here, so oh, the chat just jumped. I don't know where I just left off of. Jeez. All right, let's see. See if I can find. Yeah, again, a lot of people saying how Canon kind of show their cards there on blocking third party lenses. Like wrong move, Canon. Wrong move. Okay, I think I found my spot again. Um, Jeremy Scott, he said Sony and Fuji have been killing it for the creator community. Canon has mainly focused on the pro sports, wildlife, and studio photographers. Um, yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, so I read that wrong. Sony and Fuji have been killing it with the creator community. Yeah, Fuji's been stepping it up a lot. Sony has too. I know I did have mixed feelings when I started to see camera brands being affiliated with specific creatives and stuff, no matter what platform they're on, because I kind of saw it as like being salesmen. But now looking at it, I think it's kind of beautiful that they are lending support. Because regardless, guys, all of us YouTubers or influencers, wherever the hell you want to call them, we would be making these videos regardless. We would be reviewing this gear regardless. We would be featuring different lenses and cameras and tools and all that regardless. So it is nice to have camera companies step up and be like, "Hey, they're making this, let's help them," kind of thing, you know? Um, and so to see Canon just kind of sitting back and just like, I know I have a lot of like big YouTuber friends now, and behind closed doors, we talk about things. And Canon doesn't do anything for anyone, honestly. So again, that's another thing that um, like I hope soon they come out with some program to where they start supporting their creatives who are behind their side, you know. TJ saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I know. The R5C has, I know, has C-Log 2. It won't have internal NDs. I'll just wait 4 years." Yeah, exactly. He said R5C will have C-Log 2 and internals NDs. Just wait 4 years. Exactly. I'm freaking tired of waiting for Canon to come out to play catch up. I'm over it. It's crazy because each camera company comes out the camera and it's like game changing. Like they're set for the next 5 years. And then the next brand comes out with something that's game changing, set for the next 5 years. But if you look at, the roster, Canon still they continually are behind, which is fine. Like again, all these cameras, give a professional 10-year-old camera, they're gonna get the job done. But I mean, again, I am someone who loves gear. And so when I see a new feature comes out, immediately I start thinking of scenarios I've been stuck in the past where I was like, I fucking hate that this camera just did this to me, or I missed that shot because of this. And so that's the reason I love gear. It's just I'm so passionate when I'm on set, when I'm on location filming stuff. I'm beyond passionate. Like people come up to me saying how alive I look and how happy I look and how just in the zone I get. And that's why I love the gear because it's part of it. FX9, Jonathan Masters, what's up, bro? Guys, Jonathan Masters. I wish I could say go check his shit out, but he doesn't put anything out. Um, That dude's like one of the hardest working guys. I try to hire him whenever I can when I'm shooting in LA. And if budgets keep going up, I'll start flying him out because this dude works his ass off and he's very knowledgeable. Um, and yeah, no complaints. He has zero complaints while set. Curious on how you feel about Ari coming out with this with a Super 35 camera. That's cool and all, but I can't afford an Ari. I can't afford a team to run an Ari either. So um, I think again, Super 35 cameras are fine, but I just You can put the C70 versus the FX6. The FX6 just has way more to offer for solo operators. Um, like it's just the fact. Peter Dyer said, "Would love to see more short films from you, like the Road to Coachella film." Yeah, the Road to Coachella film that was sponsored by Nissy. Um, all whatever money they gave me went straight in that video. I kind of wish I kept some of it. um, so yeah, that's again, that's what I was saying with the whole point of me doing this YouTube, besides me loving it, like even there's a lot of times where I'm on set or I'm on a gig and I wish I was making a YouTube video instead. Like that's how much I love doing YouTube. Um, if my YouTube channel ever actually blew up, I would 1000% reinvest whatever I make after I can live off of it back into producing personal work because besides the documentary, I want to do my part. I do want to make a feature film, feature films. I want to be a director, So I think short films is a beautiful way to teach myself on how to get to that. I need to start reading and writing more too. That's a big part. Loom TV said making a Super 35 sensor look good does not require team effort, and you could put the Canon speed booster on the C70. Yeah, true. Having a Micro Four Third sensor doesn't require whole team. I don't know what your point was with that. But yeah, the speed booster on a C70. If I did a speed booster on a C70, there's a lot of EF budget anamorphics coming out. Can't fucking use that on a speed booster. Um, I'm sure it's great for vintage glass and EF glass, but other than that, like I'd rather have native mount performance because one, the lenses are smaller, the autofocus is better. There's more options because I can still put an adapter on there. I'd rather just have full frame off the bat because I could crop in a Super 35 if I want to use a Super 35 lens. Why do I want to limit myself to that? Um, Again, I'm not saying the C7 is a bad camera. It's a great camera, but I just think the FX6 has more to offer for a solo creative. What about the color science? We went over that. Shout out to Armando. Yeah, Armando's a huge uh, uh, problem. He's he was one of the main people where he was just like because we all saw Armando go from Canon to Sony, and I would even text him like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like, why?" And he was just like all gun ho about Sony, and I didn't get it. But again, now that I set down my ammo, and I was like, "Let me listen to see what Sony has." I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." Yeah, someone said, "Damn, everyone switched from Canon to Sony." Yeah, for a reason. Loom TV again said, "I can see you leaving Sony within the next 6 months. The FX6 NDs are not enough for you in the desert." Um, I mean, I'm not like one of your little 120 FPS wide open filmmakers. I don't mind closing down to f4. I never needed to go over 7 stops of ND. I rarely have to go over 6 stops of ND. Yeah. Richard Charles said because people are tired of Canon's BS. Yeah. Richard Charles Jr. said, to be honest, I'm a Sony fanboy. Guys, I'll never be a fanboy of anything. Fuck all that culture. I've been doing this for over a decade. When I got started, it was all about the work. It was all about the final image. Um, this whole rah rah rah. This is my team. It reminds me of the American politics on how people just get behind their mascot. It drives me absolutely crazy. I don't give a shit what the brand name is. I care about who's looking out for us and who's giving us what we need, and not just trying to take money out of our pockets like Canon does. Sorry, guys, if you hear me sipping and everything. Someone said when Panasonic releases the S1H Mark II, Canon will be switching over to that. Going back to Jonathan Masters, the guy I hire a lot, he has a Panasonic, and I'm always blown away by the image quality he gets out of it. But again, it's not The email is like the GOAT. It has everything. Um, Panasonic, like you would have to adapt other glass to it, and that's probably gonna affect whatever autofocus it has. Um, Again, it's a great camera. If you're someone that likes shooting anamorphic and vintage glass, I think it's just fine. But I like shooting vintage glass and anamorphic, but I also like shooting autofocus too with versatile lenses. What will Jason Holland said? What will your stills camera be? Or did you already say? I'm aiming for the A7R5, but I might do the A7 IV too. We'll see. Going to love the FX6. So units I grabbed in February. And guys, this isn't just like a last second decision of mine. I've spoke to a lot of people. Um, I researched a lot of things already. I looked for a lot of people that had similar work to mine that were shooting anamorphic on the FX6. And every time I saw the images, I was like, this shit looks like a movie. And then I would speak to them, and yeah, no one has said anything bad about the FX6. And these are just regular people. These aren't people affiliate with YouTube or Sony or anything like that. Yeah, so Richard Tower said he's doing the same thing. He switched from Nikon to Sony. He said Sony's mature now, and I'm tired of waiting for Nikon to catch up. Exactly the same thing with Canon. Canon's more caught up than Nikon for sure, but um, Sony's just, their color science has developed a lot. They're ahead of the pack for sure. I mean, we're seeing it in the shares market too. Michael Drawley said FX6 just not compact enough. You'll need slash want another option for run and gun. Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm debating on what stills camera I want to get because that will be a B cam. Um, and then on gigs where I don't need the power of the FX6, like control NDs and all that, I will most likely pick up a FX3 as well. FX3 will act as like my YouTube camera and as like a B camera for if I know there's no stills on set, then I won't need to bring the stills camera. Yeah, I think the FX6 is pretty. My R5C rigged out looks like a. Let me clear my throat real quick. Sorry, all these allergies. Austin's weather. It's like 7 degrees today, and yesterday it was like freaking 40 degrees. Like it's all over the place. My allergies goes crazy. Um, my Komodo rig is probably the same size that the FX6 was, and I had no problem with the size. And it would actually be lighter than the Komodo too, which is pretty cool. A7S3 still a very good image. Yeah, I would never buy the A7S3 though because it's like 10 megapixels or something. Like it's zero use to me. I'd rather just buy the FX3. Recommend checking out the Phantom LUTs if you need fast turnaround. Nah, no thanks. Those LUTs do look great, but I rather lose sleep doing a grade and making it look like my stamp on it. Why not XE4 instead of X100V? Um, I love the XE4, especially with the 27 millimeter. I actually like the look of that, of the images on that more than the X100V. But the X100V has the leaf shutter and it has a flash on it, and it's just a little bit more compact, a little bit more robust. So yeah, still got the Kimono. No, I sold that like a while ago. Uh, Noah, this is off the topic real quick, guys, but he asks, do you feel like you can blow up 645 film photos decently? Why not 6.7? Is it because of large format hassle? Love your colors and work. Um, I just like 645 because I don't print my film work. I rarely print as it is in general. I do want to start doing prints on my road trip stuff, but 645 just because it for me has enough quality for me just uploading Instagram. And I get 15 to 16 shots over 8 to 10 shots. Keep the RF glass man. Canon will release new cameras. Nah, dude. By the time they release cameras that are giving us what we want, those they'll have Mark II versions of those lenses. Why not the Sony A1? I don't know. I know it's freaking expensive, so maybe I don't know. We'll see. Going back to Zcam, hell no. Shout out to Zcam. I think they did something really cool. But nah. No more Red Kimono, no. Bone said, "Settling down, marrying Fuji, no." I love Fujifilm to death, guys. But when it comes to my actual professional work, I just can't rely on their cameras. Again, they're great cameras, but the quality, um, I know a lot of people like to yapper about, oh, it doesn't matter with the sensor size. But once you start making over 10K a gig, I won't say how much I make, but just let's say once you start making over or six figures, five figures, once you start making over five figures on 1 gig, uh, you want to make sure you're delivering top end results. Uh, Salam said, "Your option or your opinion, please, about Vazen 1.8 compared to Sirui 1.6 for C70." Vazen will give you more of a true anamorphic look, but the Surays are a little bit more easier to use just because when you're decreasing the stretch factor, you'll get sharper results, period. So focus peaking is a little bit easier. Um, but it doesn't look as anamorphic. And then you have that close focus issue too. So I've been really wanting to check out the Great Joy lenses. I was speaking to them. We'll see if I get something worked out there for you guys to check out. Indra said, "My R5C rig is over 4 kilograms, so I get why it's not documentary camera. You either shoot stills or video. You just flip a switch and do both." Like I said, yes, you could flip a switch, but then you have to re-rig it to do video, or your battery's going to die within 15 minutes. Um, 4 kilograms, that's fine. The weight isn't that bad to me at all, honestly. So the weight wasn't an issue for me. Are you anime? I'm probably butchering all these names. So would you prefer the FX6 over the Komodo? Because I know you love the film look, and I know the FX6 is a bit sharper, less filmy. Um, Sharpness, I don't really care about because I could just simply de-sharpen and post. I don't know why people go crazy about that. Um, Say if I was gonna have a team, and I don't have to touch the camera, which I sometimes get to do that, but it's not common currently for me right now. Red all the way. Um, but for everything else, I mean, the FX6 was probably gonna be just fine. Why not R4C for video and R5 for photos? Must be better to have two bodies at least. Yeah, so that's what I originally had. That setup was great. That story I told when I was in Peru, I took one camera because I trusted the R5C enough that I wouldn't need a backup. Um, but again, the photographer got sick, and so I had to step in and do stills on top of the video. So that's why I was prepared for that. So that was like one of the rare times where I didn't take a second camera, and wouldn't you freaking know it, that was the time I needed a second camera. Um, so that setup is great. The R5's footage, though, compared to the R5C, it's very noisy and it lacks like 2 to 3 stops of extra dynamic range that the R5C has. Um, and then once you take the R5C out raw, compare it to a Fuji cam or to a Sony camera, you're losing more dynamic range. Like it's kind of sad my Fujifilm X-H2S has more dynamic range than the R5C. Cleveland said, "What are your thoughts on C70 versus FX3 or FX6?" I talked about it already, but I can kind of go over the points again. C70, Super 35 sensor, which again is totally fine, but it does limit you on options. Then you have to use a speed booster. I hate adapting anything. I hate using speed boosters. It's another thing to get in the way. Then it limits your anamorphic choices. Um, the dual gain sensor looks great. The files, XFAVC files out of the C70, great, almost like raw images. It's insane. The shadow recovery on it is wild. Beautiful highlight roll off. Um, but then the FX6 and FX3 can go to 12,800 and you get insanely clean results. So you can imagine when you get in a pinch and you just jack up the ISO and you're getting equally clean results, yeah, pretty much the go. C70 again has hard NDs, 2, 4, 6, 8 stops of ND. So there's a lot of times where I would throw on the ND and then I would still have to adjust my aperture more than I wanted to. So on the FX6, I'll be able to fine tune the electronic ND so I don't have to mess with my aperture as much if I want a specific number, especially when it comes to anamorphic. Sometimes you want to open it as much as you can. Um, what else do we got there? Um, I think this is unfair to say, but, I have a feeling that I'm going to like the FX6 form factor a little bit more. The C70 felt like, a DSLR, in your hand, like it felt like a 1DX, like an old one, which is fine, but I didn't really care for that form factor. Um, so the C70 have a little bit more elongated thing and all the buttons on the side. I can easily get to there with one hand without taking my hand off. Versus the C70, I felt like I had to kind of juggle it around to get different buttons and stuff. Both great cameras. Like I'm not even sure if the FX6 has false color, where the C7 does, and I love false color, so that might be an issue for video. I don't even know what that is. Nikon Z9, nah, I'm not interested in Nikon at all. Um, MRK Dowling said, from using the XH2S and attempting to use it in your workflow, who would you recommend the Fuji workflow to? Anyone really. My thing with that is that camera shines when you adapt lenses. Um, and I don't really care to adapt lenses unless it's anamorphic. Like I love the look of vintage glass, but I'm not one to really put in the time to do that. Let me mute this real quick. So I think for most people, it's totally fine. If you're like a badass filmmaker, you're gonna make any camera look good, and I think you'll especially make the XH2 look good. Insanely good image quality, and like crazy dynamic range. Um, Very noisy though on F-Log too, very noisy. You have to run some heavy noise reduction on it. Uh, Colors can be pushed decently, but it definitely has like a baked in Fuji look, which isn't a bad thing. But if you're expecting to get crazy, different looking, opposite of what the Fuji look is, you might be stretching a little bit hard. Um, but I think for someone that's just getting into making income off of video, the X-H2S is like amazing. I started, I think my main video camera was like XT3 there for a moment, and it was great. And so the XH2S is that same thing, but tenfold. I saw a lot of influencers, like bougie influencers in LA. I'd be sitting back in Range Rovers, listening to them gossip with their agents and stuff, and it was interesting. But wouldn't do that again though. uh, Sulu said, biggest downside to the FX6 is the size and weight when rigged out. I have a 5-inch monitor in the first generation 24 to 70 and have to use Easy Ray for full days. I'm used to that weight. The Komodo's heavier than FX6, and I had a fat V mount on it, all sorts of heavy lenses on it, 7-inch monitors, all rigged out, rails, cage. I'm used to that weight. I don't mind the weight. I don't use easy rigs. I hate easy rigs. They slow me down, so I just deal with it. I work out more. I think that's the one the main things I've learned through filmmaking is to work out more, take care of my body, slowly getting more strength, just so when I'm on set for long days, I'm not hurting after. 606 Media said, wouldn't be surprised if third party opens up by summer. That's cool if they do, but it's too late for me. Noah Chung said, when does filmic or replicating film become something that's part of your style or something that's just a trend? Oh boy. I think the trend mostly comes like the look of the filmic trend doesn't look like actual film at all. Um, I think it's what people think it looks like because none of them actually shoot film. But once you shoot film, you know it has a specific look. And so even those people that are trying to mimic it who have the wrong idea of it, I think when they see real film or a replica, they're like, "Oh, how does that look like?" I think they're a little bit baffled by it. Um, so as we've seen, film's been dead forever, but it's coming back. Brands love the look of that. It's weird because I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, brands started to gravitate to more of a natural look. And now they're starting to go to that more of that over-baked, over-edited look, which drives me crazy because I spent so much time trying to perfect that natural filmic look. But I'm gonna stick to that look. I like it more, honestly. I think when you look at those over-baked images from 5 years ago, they looked dated versus if it's a film-looking photo, it holds up to time. I think that's just That's a standard in our brains, you know. Hello from Scotland. What's up, Mendo? Kyle said, I just switched to A7R4 and sold my R5. I haven't told you because I didn't want you to be disappointed in me. This is such great news. Like I said, Kyle, the whole this is my camera, that's your camera, that's all bullshit to me. I don't give two shits on what camera brand's on it. I just care if it works. Um, I think a lot of that type of culture comes in out of boredom. I think a lot of people are hungry to be creative, but they don't know how to be creative, and so it becomes an outlet of getting gear because I think the gear is going to make them more creative. Um, I think YouTube is part to blame for that for sure. Jonathan Masters in the same boat. Hopefully they pay soon. Yeah, yeah. He's talking about the invoices. We did a gig together a little over a month ago and we still haven't got paid for it. Alexander Gioke, hit me up, bro. Goes down in the DM on Instagram. Mindo Works said 100% having a vision is everything. 1000%. If you don't have a vision, maybe that's why you're like, oh, this camera's not getting what I need. So let me go buy another camera. Maybe that was part of the reasons I was jumping around so much. Um, I'm definitely happy with my time with Canon because it helped me set into my groove. And that groove has simplified a lot of things for me. I'm very happy. Oh, the chat jumped again. Oh man, y'all going ham. I'm trying my best to keep up with this. Thank you guys for participating in this. Again, this is my first live. I'll have to try harder next time with the setup. Uh, Here we go. So people are asking Kyle how the Switch is going. He says Sony Raw are less filmic than the R5 straight out of the box, but with the insane dynamic range, you can really get anything you want with curves. I'm so happy with my A7 IV. There you go, guys. So again, Canon colors off the bat in photos and video look great and they are extremely easy to edit. But once you start learning what you're doing and how to really stretch your files, that's when it kind of starts not mattering, especially since Sony's colors are a lot better now. Simon said he saw the tiny thoughts going to Fuji. No, sadly, Fuji. If Fuji ever made a full frame camera, I would entertain it. But or if they made their medium format faster, but then even their lenses are freaking huge for the medium format, so they're not really, I don't know, realistic for me. Though I love them, they keep me inspired when I'm getting burnt out on work. That's when I really step into Fuji because they kind of make me enjoy shooting because I think less about the camera and more about shooting. You know, Nick Del Duca said, "Don't dive headfirst in the Tamron lenses. They aren't all they're cracked up to be. Rent them first. The 17 to 28, 28 to 75, and the 71A all have the harsh rendering and do weird stuff backlit. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to dive back into it. I had them for the A7R4, and I thought they were just okay. Felt like they kind of had like a plasticky look to the skin. Um, but the 35 to 150, Z, shout out to Z. I don't know if he or Z Lee. It's Lee Zavitz. His video on the Tamron 35 150 sold me. Like it looked great. Um, but yeah, I definitely there's gonna be a lot of testing that I'm gonna have to do. I'll be sure to make videos out of it if you guys want to see anything on it. Uh Elad Bari. Yeah, I need to figure out how I could share these comments on pin message report. Yeah, I don't know. He said, oh, I lost it. God dang it. Sorry, guys. 1 second. He said, Sony's met color science, no overtime in post to get skin tones normal. Um, from the stuff that I tested out, the files, they still kind of have that little bit of yellow pigment in parts of the skin. Um, so you guys already know I'm gonna make presets for it. So I'll just have to make a preset that kind of fixes that. But it wasn't nearly as bad as it used to be. Um, And I was also actually only on one photo. Um, so I don't know. We'll have to see about that. Um, but the skin tones were 1000% better though than what they used to be. I remember they used to end up looking like Oompa Loompas, and now they look way more natural. And again, my editing process now versus what it was then, it's a lot more simplistic. Yeah, Jonathan Perez said that he misses the shooting experience on Canon. Yeah, I can see that happening. Sony's bodies do feel a little bit more technical, but again, at this point, I care more about the files they deliver for work. And the FX6, again, for video stuff, that thing seems like the one all-in-one perfect thing, except for not having false color. I would be more intrigued the FX3 too if it had a shutter angle, but it doesn't. 606 Media, yeah, I owned the C70 for like a month and then I got rid of it because I was scared I was going to break it. How do you think between Komodo R5C and Sony ABT color? I don't know what you mean by that, pure media, but again, when it comes to video with log footage, you can convert it to look like anything now. So I wasn't worried about video color science at all. Cleveland said FX6 that much better than the C70. It's a little bit better. It's enough better for me to go with it. Again, full frame gives you more versatile options. That dual ISO and the electronic VND, those are the main things, and all the lens options. Jonathan Perez said the Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8 so good. I need to try it. Someone said they just saw the XH2S handheld footage and it was quite impressive. Actually looks cinematic. I wonder if it's good camera info operation. Guys, I really don't care about IBIS. I 1000% prefer lens IS. IBIS has ruined more shots than helped me. Um, that's one thing that I love about the R5C is it didn't have IBIS. So even if you have IBIS and you turn it off, that sensor's still wiggling around. Um, and so having a locked off sensor gives you a more stable look. You can get that actual like filmic handheld look uh, from no IBIS at all. Yes, Andrew Solomon said Canon does have their Explorers of Light, but it's pretty hard to get into that group. Yeah, and it's honestly everyone in that group, they don't inspire me at all. They're very uh, stale, in my opinion. Not like I'm not saying their work sucks. The amazing work, clean work, but doesn't do anything to excite me. Like how Fuji and Sony gets people. Like some of their creators, I'm like, holy shit! Like I want to make something like that. Pyramida said, I love your color. Can you color grade a Sony to what you did with the R5C and Komodo? Yes, easily. Again, when it comes to video with log, that's all you need. Did I consider the A7S3 Sean's visuals? No, again, 12 megapixels for stills, that's zero use to me. So I'd rather just get the FX3. Josh Bernardo said, I have over 500 hours on my FX6, still going strong. See? Workhorse. That's what I need, a workhorse. Kepno 808, are you sorry that you sold all your Sony glass? No, I'm not sorry because whatever money I got from that, put back in the Canon system. Um, and all that glass I probably wouldn't own still at this point. Sage Hammond, message restricted. I don't know why. Can I still see what was in here? Nope. Are you selling all your Canon gear? Gavin Kyle, yes, I am. On my Instagram, I posted all the prices. So if you're interested in buying anything, hit me up. Yeah, kept no 808 said FX30, FX6, A74, A75 are all very compelling ecosystems. Again, guys, let's look at Canon's lineup. You have the new E7 and 10. Can you see me using those? I wouldn't even vlog with those things. Then you have the R6 Mark II, great camera. You have the new 5D Mark II that's going to come out, great camera. That's it. Like that's all they got right now. If we're talking about hybrid cameras, and again, Sony has FX30, FX6, A7 IV, A7R5. All of them have S-Log3. All of them could be used and pushed to extreme limits. Again, I feel like Canon is just focusing on the people who are just going like to Best Buy to buy a camera off the shelf. I feel like that's what Canon's banking on. But those people are buying cameras less and less and less. They're using their phones. So I really think Canon needs to shift up their not only their market department, but their focus on features within cameras because obviously they don't care about what they're giving us. Yeah, I am Jay Hill. I've contemplated changing many times. The transition cost to change is scary. Yeah, it's a lot of money. I'm gonna lose a lot of money on some of this Canon gear, putting a lot of money back in the Sony ecosystem. This is my third or fourth time changing systems. It's very expensive. It's a big waste of money. But again, I'm trying to set myself up to create better work that I can be proud of and to tell stories. So um, this is my life, so I'm okay wasting some money on it. Arn, I'm not gonna try to say your last name, bro. Sorry. He said, "How about a co-op with Volandis for short films? That'd be fucking sick. Volandis stuff is fucking sick." Um, Daniel, ever dreamed of Leica M series for your personal everyday vacation camera? No. Nope. Um, yeah, their stuff's a little too expensive and unrealistic for me. Fuji film. That's all I need. Missed out on the beginning portion. What features you pinpoint about Canon? Can you go back and look at it? I hope. Oh, we'll see. I hope this video saves. I don't know how to set this up. Um, JP5588. With a full Sony kit, what are the situations that make you reach for the Fujis? Again, when I'm getting burnt out on client work and I just want to, gear starts to be feel like work tools. Um, and so Fuji's never felt like that for me. Fuji's always felt like a fun tool, if that makes sense. Johnny Angel, I only subscribed for your Canon content. All the best. Bye. Peace. Get out of here. I don't care about that stuff. Brandon, thanks for the chat last night, man. All good, brother. Richard, you sold the X100V? No, I'm keeping the X100V. Ben Boeing, Sony EF1635 3.1 Cin lens? Nah, probably not. I love Cin lenses, but I just rather use a stills lens with autofocus if I'm not using anamorphic. Richard Morin said that Sony dramatically improved the auto white balance. I honestly don't use auto white balance. I keep it at 56 to 54 Kelvin. And then if I'm in a different situation, I just adjust it accordingly. But usually I just keep it at that. I like keeping the environment looking like it did in real life, you know. Brandon said, I think it was a smart move for you to go to Sony. Same. I don't have any doubts. Right when I made the choice, I was like, yep, I'm going for it. What do you think of the LCD screen, the Sony? It's definitely still not as nice as the Canons, but I mean, I can live with it. Um, I try the tether for most of my work, uh, anyways. Tethering is like just it makes your life easier on set. But again, I rarely even do still work anymore. It's all video work. Yeah, it'd be sick if Sony gave us a thing. Um, yeah, I'm waiting for all these camera companies to come out with like filmic looking presets. Like, come on, guys. Mark asks first lenses I'm going to get for the Sony. Definitely the 35 to 150, the Tamron. A7 IV downsized rolling shutter. Maybe A7R5 is better. The A1 is amazing, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Rolling shutter is not like a giant issue for me, honestly, um, unless it's like super, super bad. But yeah. What do you think of the Sony menu format? Nana said, "What do I think of the Sony menu format?" Um, I just dove in a little bit. I don't really care when people complain about UPS is here. I wonder what I'm getting. Menu systems or whatever, like, they're not supposed to be easy, I don't think, like, it's a freaking menu, and the more you use a camera, the more you learn it, like, that's our job is to learn our gear inside out, so when we're on set in the locations, we're not worrying about the gear, we're worrying about, uh, interacting with our subjects, making people feel comfortable, make sure the light looks good, like, I d my job is to be comfortable with my gear, so I don't have to, um, think it's trash or something. Tom Wright said, "I hate the R5C, it was super impractical. Much as I dislike Sony personally, I can see why you choose them. I love results from the XH2s, but mainly I deliver online." Yeah, I wouldn't say it's impractical, but there are some workarounds with it. Every camera has its workarounds, no matter what who makes it. Um, but the whole disliking Sony thing, I don't know where that culture started. Um, I definitely have thrown shade at them in the past. Um, Sorry, I just burped. But yeah, just create. This is a good question. Why not keep the R5C for photos and the FX6 for video? Too expensive? If you saw some of the places I had to go to, I'm not carrying 2 sets of lenses. Um, I'm not carrying 1 set of lens that I have to adapt. When I get a camera that works, I like to stick with that one system so I can have 1 set of lenses, almost said 1 set of lenses for different bodies. Yeah, I'm not interested in, and then it's more storage, and then when I'm traveling, I gotta worry about multiple freaking bags of stuff, and yeah, no thanks. Yeah, Thomas said FX6 doesn't have false color, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a bummer. I don't know why they wouldn't put that. It's the same reason, like, I don't know why they didn't put, shutter angle in the FX3, kinda weird. But you know what? Those little small things, those are the only things that I have complained about those 2 cameras. Compared to all the complaints I have with all Canon stuff, no matter what camera you're getting, I much rather deal with that. No more red. No, I got rid of it a minute ago. Justin Cotterell said, "Been following your work for the past 7 years. Your videos have helped me improve my craft, build my career, and develop my mindset around photography without gear and focus. Thank you for everything." Thank you, Justin. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to read that. It's gonna be a question. Um, Owl butt. What's up? What's up? What's up, bro? Not owl butt, owl bot. Yo, buds, Kenny for the P and Co gig years ago. I know, bro. I remember you. Good to see you out and about. Hope you been good, brother. Greens from Ireland. What's up? What time is it in Ireland? Martin Kane said, Fuji have a creation vibe. Yes. I use the X-T4 in my pet photography business. Yeah. Like the Fuji, again, when I feel like I need to take a break from work, uh, but I still want to be creative, that's when I pick up my Fuji. Sigma 24 seconds ago. Yeah, I got my hands on that precision camera here in Austin, and it's heavy though. I'm trying to find a good balance. Also, guys, I forgot how compact Sony lenses were in general because the mount is smaller. So I totally forgot about that. Solomon said, "Congrats on leaving Canon. I still love Fuji, but I want Sony too." Martin Kane said, "Will you be working with Connor McCaskill anytime soon?" I freaking hope. I was supposed to have a shoot out in Nashville, but I had to cancel it. Here's a quick little story. Um, Everything was set in stone, like we were gonna do this cool music video, but as I started to break down the budget, we didn't have enough time nor the budget to properly do it, and I don't want to put my name on it if I can't do it right. So I had to cancel it. Felt insanely bad for the artist because I prolonged it twice for her. But I'm very cautious and precise with what I put out. Capture Light Media said another one bites the dust. As a Canon user, it's getting slim out here for content. I know. I blame Canon though. Like if they were to start giving us what we keep asking for years and years and years, like people would be jumping ship. What's up, Tyler? I'm sure you guys all know who Tyler Stallman is. If you don't, go look at his stuff. Great aesthetic, super smart. All his reviews are super smart, shares a lot of creative things, great camera reviews, great tech reviews. Let's see. I'm trying to find things I haven't talked about already. Luis, you've been playing at the R5. I know photos is going to be fine already, the A7R5. I know photos is great already. Video wise, how is the noise on it? That's what I'm curious about because I had the A7R4 years back, and the noise was kind of a thing. Capture Light Media said, things go in phases. Eventually, Canon will come back in vogue. Right now, Sony's a cool thing, and no one wants to feel left out. I don't really agree with that. With the whole being in vogue thing, and people don't want to feel left out. No. Again, I don't give two shits what the most popular camera is. I care about what's going to make my life easier, help me pursue my passions. Solomon David said, "What color grading job improved you the quickest from what to what?" I'm a little confused with that question, brother. If you want to rephrase that, color grading job improved you the quickest from what? I keep reading it; it's not making sense. Tyler, if you want any of my gear, DM me. I know you shoot Canon. TJ, yeah, I think the FX3 is 12 megapixels. I think I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Alan said he refuses to buy Canon because of the scam they run with printer ink. That's all freaking printers. Ink's crazy. Reach Film said, do you think Canon still having around 48% of the camera market makes the complacent with what they're doing compared to Sony?" Um, Maybe, but I mean that number is changing drastically fast. Um, so I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to see that what they're doing, they're gonna keep losing loyal uh, buyers and customers and creatives who most likely will never come back. So I don't know what they're doing over there, honestly. Piss Takeoff Production said Canon needs a C70 built full frame. Yes, and they need it to be in a 6K, $6,000 price range. Again, they have a full frame cinema camera, C500. That shit's $20,000, $30,000. Like they don't. Again, they're not giving us affordable options. They're just giving us all these limited pricing tiers. Rick Cortez, what's good from Texas? Hey, bro, I'm in Austin. Moved to Austin. I might move to I don't know, I might do like New Mexico or Salt Lake City or something. I don't know. I just know I'm never going back to LA. I can't stand it there. Solomon David said, because Fujifilm GFX has IBIS, would you avoid using it for video work? Yeah, and on top of that, the rolling shutter. So remember how you guys just heard me say I don't really care about rolling shutter. The rolling shutter on the GFX is actually unusable, especially for the type of stuff I use. Like it'll look like I'm in a fun house if I'm shooting on a thing. Capture Light Media said, Canon as a company will get hungry again after losing all the market share to Sony, and they will come out swinging. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think their numbers are going to keep dropping. I don't know if I'm assuming they're a public company, so I'm sure their investors are like, hey, what the hell's going on here? So yeah, they probably will eventually have to fold. But by that time, it's too fucking late. Like all of us are leaving already as it is. I don't plan on going back, especially if they treated everyone like that with the third lens thing. Like, nah. Uh, Bozidar Ross, sorry, just butchered that for sure. Hi, why did you leave Komodo? Your work is very inspiring. Again, it's a great camera, but it's a little overkill for what I need. And it definitely, I don't want to say slow me down in shooting, but it was more of a challenge, which I like at times, but not when I'm trying to make money. Just jumped in. Why are you dumping Canon? You're gonna have to go back, bro. I've been on this for over an hour. Brandon said, "Is someone interested in diving into the Fuji medium format? Why did you choose the 50 2 rather than the 100S? The autofocus is a bit shit on all of them. Even when I've tried the 100S and the original 100, I still end up having to put it into um, middle single point autofocus, so I didn't see what the point was of getting it." Tyler Stallman said the Switch makes sense to me, but seems a little late in the Sony life cycle. No. Yeah, I'm late to the game, if that's what you mean. Just curious, so what lens am I going to buy for the Sony and why? Again, the first one's probably gonna be the 35 to 150 millimeter. That thing seems amazing from photos and portrait work to fashion work to commercial work to documentary work. From there, I might get an ultra wide zoom, depending if how bad the distortion is, or I might just get a Laowa ultra wide. And then I think I'm gonna get the Great Joy anamorphics too. Um, and then maybe the Tamron 2075. I don't know. There's a lot of options, overwhelming amount of lens options for Sony. It's awesome. Tori Annabelle said, "Many thanks for putting me on to Fuji a few years ago. Really got my passion for photography back. Just great, so creative." Yeah, again, that's why I love Fuji. Anytime I'm struggling creatively, I pick up I'll pick up a Fuji camera and it just resets me. Alan Morgan, he said, "Will we potentially see Lightroom presets for your Sony work, or are you totally done with Lightroom?" I could try to make some presets for it, but it's not gonna be the same quality as my other ones because in Capture One, they have luminance curves versus RGB curves. And Lightroom only has RGB curves. So I can't do the filmic look in Lightroom because the curves will just destroy the photo. Um, so I don't know if anyone knows if there's a workaround to change the curves most to luminance to luminosity. I could probably make some up then. Um, Load the manual dies and XTs. Yep, yep. Mark said that dude is always switching. Fake news. I got the Canon R5 when it first came out, so it's been over 2.5 years I've been shooting Canon. So yeah. Capture Light Media said, "I can't believe people will stop watching because of what camera you use. Strange." I know. I'm fucking over this whole culture of like rah rah rah. This is my brand that I rep. Guys, these brands aren't putting wedding rings on us. They're not cuddling us night. They're not doing, you know what I'm saying? Like get a life, please. Jim Brum, you saw the GFX yet? No, I just posted everything up today for sale. Um, so if you want it, DM me on Instagram. Salt Lake would open you with open arms. You got free intern right here if you do. Shout out to Brandon. Yeah, I'm contemplating it. I love Austin, and there's a lot of work opportunities here, but I don't have time to network, honestly. And I could probably get a lot of work out here if I networked. But I want to be more central to the Southwest. I want to go to my tribe more, which is in an hour south of Tucson. Um, I want to be able to go to Utah, New Mexico, and Montana whenever I want and not have to take a 2 to 3 day drive just to get there. Question though, for everyone in Salt Lake City, how's the nightlife? Like, are people fun out there, or is it pretty, uh, you know? Shot well, so you're gonna miss those Canon colors straight out of camera. Probably just a hint, I will. But again, I already tested some Sony files and they grade just fine, honestly. Just create so why no GM glass 3514 51.2 are amazing. I don't know, maybe I'll get some GM glass. I usually don't shoot primes out of laziness. and quickness. Like on all these modern cameras and lenses, zooms look. The reason we shot prime so much in the past was because they were way sharper than the zooms. Now the zooms are just as good as the primes, and now the primes are even better. So Jackson Zimmerman, no Cam, don't do it. Too late, I'm doing it. Just crazy says, so are you going to buy 3 Sony cameras and keep it with 2? I don't know. For professional work, I definitely need 2 cameras. Um, right now, I thought maybe I could get rid of one. That's why I got rid of the R5 because I thought the XH2S could step in and be like my hybrid and the R5C be my cinema. But as you see, it's not working out well. I don't trust the Fuji for photos, professional like still shoots. I'm just not comfortable with the quality and inconsistencies. Um, so yeah, definitely the FX6 and the A7R5 is what I'm going for. And then if I can afford it, depending on taxes and stuff, I'll get the FX32 mainly as a backup B cam for cinema gigs and then or motion gigs and then YouTube stuff. All right, guys, I'm checking out of here in 5 minutes. Been on it for an hour and a half. Warren said, I like your channel because you aren't pimping gear to make money. Tubac, Incinerate, Arizona. Are you asking where my res is? It's on the Autumn Nation. Um, but yeah, I'm not loyal to I'm not loyal to a name, you know. Have you tried the A74 on 8,000, 12,800? I have not. I haven't tried the A74 at all. Sweet. So I'll have to come spend like a few days in Salt Lake City and check it out and see. Aperture said, or Arpitures said, you might often switch. Still, to me, it means also you prefer to feel and understand pleasant tools to make magic over brand names. Followed you for 4 to 5 years and not disappointed. Thank you. Um, yeah, again, any professional who put any camera in their hand, it's all going to look the same. To this day, I still have people comment or DM me my own photos saying, "Was this shot on media format? Is this film? Is this blah blah blah?" Like they can't even tell. Um, so yeah, it's all about what gets the job done and what I feel good with, you know, as a creative. Have you seen the latest Atlas Mercury anamorphic lenses? If so, do you plan to experience those? So I shot a music video in Montana during the fall, and the team I've hired, I fucking love that team. I want to hire them more. They have the Atlas Orions, and holy shit, I wish I could own a set for myself. So we'll see. Favorite zooms on Fuji? No favorite zoom on Fuji. They again, their quality kind of lacks. Would I ever go into corporate work, or would you always stay freelance? Um, they would have to pay me more than I'm making freelance, so I don't know what brands are out there willing to pay that. Um, but yeah, I would if they paid me it more. Really seeing your post Sony work. If anyone can make Sony look good, it would be you. I have such a bad taste in my mouth from the colors. I'm really hesitant to try again. I mean, I wouldn't even want to share the old work because the way I edited it was just it's a mess. Even the way I was editing the Canon files, the Canon colors being naturally so good taught me to tune it back a little bit, and now I can apply it to the Sony and it has the same effect. But I don't feel like Fujifilm can be consistent for professional usage. It can, but it depends on what level you're at. Um, again, all these cameras are great. You can make all the cameras work, but once you start pushing them, crop sensors just fall apart faster than full frames fall apart. What type of personal work will you do in Pro Sony kit? Um, so I'll read that properly, guys. Richard Price said, "What type of personal work are you looking to embark on in 23? Will you use your will you use your Pro Sony kit for it or something else? So I was saying before, this probably be my last question to answer here. I'm gonna jump off after this. Um, I was saying before, I want to start doing more micro docs on my tribe and other tribes and just indigenous artists and everything. So that's the reason I started looking at the FX6 because it's a one man band type of camera that will help me get that done with zero compromises. Um, Again, I could have done the C70, but there's multiple compromises on it, no matter what your opinion is on uh, sensors and whatever. For me, there's compromises. It's all that matters for me. For you, your compromise could be different. Am I going to share Sony RAW files for your checkout? Maybe it's hard because then you got to get more permission and everything. So uh, we'll see. Or if you can. All right, guys, I'm heading out. Thank you for being a part of this. This was fun. I'll have to do this again. Um, Guess I'll need a hardcore topic again, though. It's very divisive for some reason. Yeah, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.